A rattlesnake announces itself with a sound evolution engineered to control fear. But what happens when the enemy cannot be warned? On the damp forest floor of Central Africa, a Gaboon viper lies perfectly still, silent as soil, hidden behind fangs longer than a human finger. One was built to alert, the other was built to disappear, and when these two extreme designs of nature collide, a single question cuts through the silence. Which one delivers the deadliest strike evolution has ever perfected? The rattlesnake was shaped by the dry landscapes of the Americas, where survival depends on energy efficiency and perfect communication. Its iconic rattle isn't just a warning, it is an evolutionary broadcast system made of keratin rings that vibrate faster than the human ear can consciously process. This sound controls distance, controls behavior, and controls fear. But the rest of its body is just as specialized. Quill-textured scales help it blend into sand, scrub, and stone. Its triangular head houses one of nature's most advanced detection systems, heat-sensing laureate pits capable of reading infrared signatures in 3 dimensions. To a rattlesnake, every warm-blooded animal glows like a moving constellation. This sensory advantage allows it to strike with extreme precision while conserving precious energy, a requirement of the harsh deserts and prairies it calls home. Its venom is hemotoxic and proteolytic, designed to rupture tissues, dismantle muscle fibers, and stop internal systems in minutes. It doesn't just kill, it begins digestion before the prey is even swallowed. Meanwhile, across the ocean, in the lush and humid forests of Central and Western Africa, the Gaboon viper evolved into the definition of perfect stillness. Heavy-bodied, broad-headed, and wrapped in fractal camouflage that mirrors fallen leaves, it becomes a piece of the forest floor. Its strategy is the opposite of the rattlesnake's. No warning, no sound, no movement, complete invisibility. Its anatomy pushes this design even further. The Gaboon viper possesses the longest fangs of any venomous snake on Earth, often reaching 5 centimeters. These fangs fold inward like biological daggers and swing out with astonishing speed. Its venom is dense, powerful, and delivered in massive volume, a combination of cytotoxins and hemotoxins engineered to break down large prey such as antelope-sized rodents, ground-dwelling birds, and small forest mammals. The Gaboon's hunting method is simple. Stay still for hours, sometimes for an entire day, and strike only once. In a visual comparison, the contrast becomes almost shocking. A Gaboon viper looks like a giant, immobile leaf carved from earth tones and shadows. A rattlesnake looks like a coiled weaponline, alert, engineered for rapid engagement. One thrives through presence, the other thrives through disappearance. To evolutionary solutions, both equally refined, both created for absolute survival in radically different worlds. The rattlesnake is an architect of efficiency. Every coil, every breath, every twitch of muscle serves a purpose. In the arid ecosystems where it evolved, wasting energy can mean death. So, its entire biology revolves around perfect calculation. Fast-twitch muscle fibers lie packed beneath its patterned skin like compressed springs, ready to release in a burst of motion that lasts less than the blink of a human eye. A rattlesnake strike, in just fasted, is algorithmic. First, it reads the world through its tongue, collecting scent molecules that reveal what moved nearby. Then, through its laureate pits, it forms a thermal image of the target, as if evolution had installed a biological infrared camera in its skull. Finally, it processes vibrations that travel through sand and stone, allowing it to feel footsteps long before it sees them. When all data aligns, the strike triggers a flash of muscle, a precise injection of venom, and an immediate retreat. This hit-and-recoil strategy minimizes risk and preserves energy, turning every encounter into a controlled chemical event. The Gaboon viper follows a philosophy that looks opposite but leads to the same level of perfection. Where the rattlesnake moves with tension and readiness, the Gaboon viper commits to stillness so complete that insects crawl across its body without disturbing it. Immobility is its superpower. Its camouflage fractals of cream, brown, charcoal, and rust breaks its outline into shapes the forest floor already understands. To the passing animal, a Gaboon viper is not a threat, it is simply part of the environment. This illusion of harmlessness gives the Gaboon time, and time fuels its lethal biomechanics. Beneath the heavy frame lies a system of muscles capable of generating a sudden, explosive burst of force. When it chooses to attack, the movement is silent, direct, and brutally efficient. What makes the Gaboon viper uniquely dangerous are its fangs, the longest of any venomous snake on the planet. These curved daggers fold inward like concealed weapons and deploy outward with astonishing reach. Combined with the snake's wide strike arc, they allow it to hit prey that believes it is safely out of range. And unlike the rattlesnake, which injects venom with surgical restraint, the Gaboon delivers enormous volumes in a single strike, flooding the prey with cytotoxic and hemotoxic compounds that shred tissue, disrupt circulation, and overpower even large animals. The strategy is simple. One strike, total commitment, no chase, no second attempt. Evolution designed it to end the encounter instantly. If the rattlesnake is a precision instrument, the Gaboon viper is controlled detonation. One measures distance, timing, and energy before acting. The other hides in absolute silence, conserving power until the moment the forest floor comes alive beneath it. The rattlesnake depends on open space, visibility, and sensory mapping to execute its strike. The Gaboon depends on darkness, clutter, and the absence of movement. One is built to react, the other is built to ambush. And this contrast opens a deeper biological question. If the rattlesnake relies on its environment to detect opportunity, and the Gaboon viper relies on its environment to disappear into it, what happens when both are placed in a neutral setting where neither advantage is guaranteed? Which survival algorithm becomes dominant when instinct meets instinct without the familiar rules of their home terrain? A real encounter between a rattlesnake and a Gaboon viper would never look like two predators squaring off. Nature does not choreograph battles. It calculates consequences. So, to understand how such a moment would unfold, we need to reconstruct the biology guiding each decision long before either snake makes a move. Imagine a neutral terrain, not the desert plains ruled by the rattlesnake, and not the dense African forest where the Gaboon viper becomes invisible. Picture an open patch of ground with scattered leaves and enough space for movement, but enough cover for shadows to exist. In this environment, the first advantage almost certainly belongs to the rattlesnake. Its sensory systems are built for early detection. Even without strong heat contrast, the Gaboon's body emits a thermal outline, and to the rattlesnake's loreal pits, that outline glows. Meanwhile, the Gaboon viper does not register the rattlesnake through heat. It depends on movement, scent, and vibrations. And since the rattlesnake approaches cautiously, assessing the environment before committing, its steps are minimal, its body controlled, its presence nearly silent. The Gaboon remains still because stillness is its nature, not a tactic it chooses in the moment. The rattlesnake knows something is there before the Gaboon knows it is being watched. That is the first biological truth, but detection is not the same as dominance. The rattlesnake can sense the Gaboon, but the Gaboon's strategy requires no awareness at all. It does nothing, and that is its trap. Its camouflage breaks its outline so effectively that even with the rattlesnake's infrared mapping, the shape doesn't signal danger. It looks like a large, warm object with no movement and no threat. The rattlesnake's rattle would normally activate now, used to warn, intimidate, or avoid conflict. But warnings evolved for predators with complex decision systems, mammals, birds, large reptiles. Against a Gaboon viper, the rattle means nothing. The Gaboon responds only to motion that enters its strike envelope. Sound does not trigger it. Threat display does not trigger it. Only proximity. As the rattlesnake closes the distance, its brain calculates thresholds. How close is too close, when to coil, when to pause, when to strike if threatened. Its strike is a defensive weapon as much as a predatory one, designed for speed and escape. The Gaboon strike, however, is designed for commitment, deep penetration, high venom volume, maximum tissue destruction. Biologically, the rattlesnake should avoid this encounter. But the Gaboon's stillness disrupts that instinct. To a rattlesnake, an unmoving animal is often dead, asleep, or irrelevant. This misinterpretation leads to the critical moment. The rattlesnake enters the Gaboon's invisible range. A Gaboon viper does not need to raise its body to strike. It does not need to adjust posture. Its ambush muscles remain coiled under its heavy frame, storing potential energy like compressed steel. When the threshold is crossed, usually when prey is just one body length away, the strike detonates. Much of the world believes heavy snakes strike slowly. The Gaboon proves the opposite. Its head shoots forward with explosive force, fangs deploying fully, reaching far beyond what its size suggests. This is the moment most observers misunderstand. The Gaboon's strike range is nearly double what people expect. The rattlesnake's response is equally remarkable. It does not freeze. It does not panic. Its body is wired for recoil, to escape immediately after its own strike, and to dodge when another creature moves first. But here, speed meets silence. The Gaboon's attack is short, deep, and brutal, with almost no lateral motion. It does not lunge in the dramatic sense. It simply snaps forward, hits, and stops. The rattlesnake's survival would depend on whether it predicted the movement a split second before it happened. Heat perception might give it the slightest warning. A subtle shift in the Gaboon's skull temperature as muscles contract for the strike. But that advantage is measured in milliseconds. If both snakes strike nearly simultaneously, the differences in design become clear. The rattlesnake's venom is destructive over time. The Gaboon's venom is destructive immediately. The rattlesnake strikes and retreats. The Gaboon strikes and holds position, anchoring its fangs deeper if necessary. This biological contrast determines the likely outcome, but the encounter's core revelation is simpler than victory or defeat. Each species is the perfect expression of its environment. The rattlesnake optimizes information. The Gaboon optimizes stillness. When these algorithms meet, the landscape, not the snakes, decides which strategy prevails. And yet, one truth remains constant. Most observers underestimate how far the Gaboon can reach before its body appears to move at all. That alone shifts the entire balance of the interaction. What happens inside the body after each snake strikes is more violent, more complex, and more astonishing than anything visible from the outside. To the human eye, a rattlesnake bite looks like a quick puncture, but on the microscopic level, the venom begins rewriting reality within seconds. Hemotoxins spread through tissues like a chemical wildfire, rupturing cell membranes, collapsing blood vessels, and dismantling muscles into soft, disorganized fragments. Proteolytic enzymes break down structural proteins so rapidly that the prey's internal architecture starts dissolving before digestion even begins. This isn't cruelty, it is biochemical engineering. By the time the rattlesnake locates its prey again through scent trails, the internal temperature of its own body has already begun to rise. After feeding, a rattlesnake's metabolism can spike by more than 14 degrees Celsius internally, turning its body into a living furnace designed to process nutrients with maximum efficiency. Inside, every enzyme becomes a worker. Every cell becomes a chamber. Every heartbeat becomes a mechanical pulse of chemistry. The Gaboon viper, however, operates with a venom that feels less like biochemical precision and more like biological detonation. Its venom is thick, almost syrup-like, loaded with enzymes that cause catastrophic internal collapse. Cytotoxic compounds break apart cell walls, causing tissues to liquefy. Hemotoxic agents disrupt blood flow so violently that circulation collapses into chaos within minutes. Coagulation factors trigger clots in some vessels while leaving others ruptured and leaking. The result is a paradox. Massive internal bleeding combined with dangerous blockages, a perfect storm that overwhelms the prey's body before it can respond. One of the most overlooked aspects of Gaboon venom is its sheer volume. Evolution designed the snake to handle larger prey, so the injection is not merely potent, it is overwhelming. Many animals cannot withstand the combined pressure of the bite and the chemical shock that follows. Yet, while the chemistry inside the prey is violent, the Gaboon itself remains almost motionless during digestion. Its body is a study in energy conservation. After a strike, it often stays exactly where it is, breathing slowly, letting the forest swallow it again in silence. Internally, its organs begin the long process of restructuring food into fuel. Metabolism ramps up gradually, not explosively like the rattlesnakes. This slow-burning process allows the Gaboon to remain undetected, avoiding predators and conserving strength. What looks like stillness from the outside is actually biological discipline, a form of invisible efficiency that enables the snake to thrive in dense ecosystems where motion attracts danger. For the rattlesnake, digestion is only part of the hidden science. Its sensory systems continue operating long after the hunt is over. Even at rest, the rattlesnake reads heat, pressure, and chemical cues around it. The animal becomes a living sensor array. Its heart rate changes depending on vibrations in the ground. Its tongue flicks to maintain chemical mapping. Its pits adjust sensitivity based on ambient temperature. All these invisible processes allow the rattlesnake to remain aware even when still. It is never truly off. Meanwhile, the Gaboon viper relies on the opposite design, biological minimalism. Its body reduces unnecessary movement to nearly zero. Each breath is a whisper. Each muscle fiber activates only when absolutely needed. Digestion takes time, but the Gaboon trades speed for invisibility. In the forest, surviving unseen is more valuable than processing food quickly. The true invisible science behind these snakes is not their venom, nor their senses, nor their digestion. It is their philosophy of energy. The rattlesnake invests energy in detection, precision, and rapid chemistry. The Gaboon invests in stillness, deception, and overwhelming force. Both represent evolutionary equations refined over millions of years. Both are masterpieces of biology working not through what we see, but through processes happening quietly beneath the skin. Evolution rarely creates extremes without purpose, and both the rattlesnake and the Gaboon viper carry biological records that reveal just how far nature is willing to push design when survival demands it. The Gaboon viper, for instance, holds one of the most astonishing records in the serpent world, the highest venom yield ever measured in a viper. In a single strike, it can release more than 600 milligrams of venom, an amount so high that scientists studying the species often have to prepare special containment procedures for sampling. This extraordinary volume isn't an accident. It exists because the Gaboon evolved to take down large, muscular prey in dense forests where a chase would be impossible. The venom must immobilize quickly, destroy efficiently, and guarantee that the prey never moves far from the point of contact. Every drop is designed for certainty. Contrast that with the rattlesnake's unique auditory system, a feature no other snake on Earth possesses. Its rattle, made entirely of hardened keratin, is a biological memory of every shed skin, each segment added like the ring of a tree. When vibrated, the hollow chambers create a buzzing sound that can exceed 20 cycles per second, too fast for human perception to distinguish individually. This evolutionary invention does more than warn predators. It manipulates distance and behavior, creating a psychological barrier that can prevent conflict entirely. No other venomous snake developed a built-in acoustic defense system. In evolutionary terms, the rattle is not just a sound, it is a strategy. Then there are the Gaboon viper's fangs, which are so long that they fold into the roof of the mouth like hidden blades. Some reach lengths equal to the width of a human finger. Their articulation is incredible. The fangs can rotate forward at nearly 180 degrees during a strike, maximizing penetration while minimizing the need for the snake to lift its heavy body. Many people assume large snakes strike slowly. The Gaboon proves the opposite. Its strike is short, explosive, and deceptively fast for a serpent of its mass. This paradox, a heavyweight predator with lightning-fast precision, is one of evolution's most impressive engineering feats. Another curiosity hides in the rattlesnake's physiology. Scientists studying strike speed recorded a maximum of 2.95 meters per second, placing its strike among the fastest accelerating actions of any vertebrate. What makes this even more surprising is how little muscle mass is involved. The rattlesnake's body uses elastic recoil mechanisms built into its tendons and connective tissues, allowing it to preload energy before releasing it in a burst. Evolution created a biological catapult inside a slender predator that weighs a fraction of its forest-dwelling rival. The two snakes also showcase extreme differences in temperament. Despite its monstrous fangs and terrifying venom yield, the Gaboon viper is known for being one of the calmest venomous snakes on Earth. It rarely strikes unless provoked at extremely close range. Its confidence comes from camouflage, not aggression. Meanwhile, rattlesnakes show a very different behavioral pattern. They warn, they posture, they attempt to avoid conflict. Their evolutionary path favored communication, alert systems, and calculated defense rather than raw power. Even the environments that shaped them tell part of the story. The rattlesnake's world is open, exposed, full of predators and prey that rely on eyesight and distance. It evolved tools to detect movement, heat, and vibrations from far away. Survival through awareness. The Gaboon's world is dense, layered, dark, and filled with creatures that move quietly under leaves. It evolved into a living sculpture of shadows, survival through invisibility. Together, these curiosities reveal an underlying pattern. Evolution never chooses a single best design. Instead, it optimizes each organism for the exact pressures of its habitat. Speed becomes powerful only where space exists. Stillness becomes lethal only where shadows dominate. Long fangs matter only if prey is large. A warning system matters only if enemies can hear. And so, when comparing the rattlesnake to the Gaboon viper, the fascination doesn't come from asking which one is stronger, but from recognizing how differently perfection can look depending on the world that shapes it. To extremes, to masterpieces, to survival blueprints that prove evolution is not a competition, it is creativity under pressure. In the end, the rattlesnake and the Gaboon viper reveal to opposite answers to the same evolutionary question. One survives by announcing itself, measuring distance, and striking with precision. The other survives by becoming the ground, waiting in out silence for the perfect moment. There is no stronger, only designs crafted by different worlds. And if you want to see how nature keeps creating solutions this extreme and this perfect, the next video is already waiting for you.